I'll go off and present Abdel, but I'll tell you just in 1 minute what was the incentive to do this fireside chat. So we're getting a lot of developer games, and we noticed that there is certain percentage of them coming from one platform that I'll not mention right now, but there is a big percentage coming out of Buildbox. And we felt that it's underknown, let's say, and we want to be part of the effort to work with them together. So we felt that it would really be important for people from the hyper-casual community to hear and to appreciate at least what we appreciate right now. So this is the slide. So a little bit about Abdel, just that you understand our credentials. So our vision is, and we've been for the past, from 2013, we've been one of the top most downloaded developer globally, top 10 App Annie ranks, Google Play and iOS. We plan to keep that. We finished April number 2, and we plan on increasing our position and being one of the leading casual game developers globally. These are kind of our numbers, KPIs in a nutshell. Everything in mobile are KPIs, LTV, eCPI, MAU, DAU. So we are above 1% of the global download. So every one of 100 games that gets downloaded is a Telltale game. 60 million unique monthly active users. To date, we achieved over 2.4 billion downloads. Number 8 in the all-time downloads from the opening of the app stores, and something above 200 employees globally in kind of 4 main geographies. We try to work hard on our culture, multicultural experience. So we have a team in Israel, in Macedonia, Bulgaria, and in China. So different geographies, different culture, different teams. We're really proud about bringing this all together. We have our brand CrazyLabs, which is the brand that we publish our hyper-casual games, both in-house and external. And it's successful. You can see Amaze, which is doing amazingly well now for 2 months in the top chart. By the way, it's a publishing deal, but we have other games like Tricky Taps and Light It Up and many others that are doing well on their own, and these ones we developed by ourselves.
So anyone here know Buildbox? If you do, can you put your hand up? All right, cool. All right, so a few of you guys. So, Buildbox, we started this in 2014, and the idea was really simple. I wanted to create a video game, and I don't know how to code. So I went and downloaded all the other options that were out there, and I could not really use them. They were more visual scripting, and I really wanted something that was drag and drop. So my idea with Buildbox was, let's set the bar at PowerPoint, like really simple. If you can make a PowerPoint presentation and you can drag a square in there and then you have options for that square, let's develop a game like that. So that's what we did with Buildbox, and it was really, really simple. And admittedly, the first version of Buildbox, which came out in 2014, made really simple games. But it did create Color Switch, which was 150 million downloads, one of the biggest games of a few years ago. It's still doing really well. They're about to come out with a sequel, actually. And then after that, we did Buildbox 2. And with Buildbox 2, we had 150 games that were either featured by Apple or broke the top 100 of the App Store. And that was more than all the other no-code platforms combined. So I felt really good about that. I felt like we definitely hit some sort of market that was looking for a need. I wasn't the only person out there wanting to make games truly drag and drop without code. And so then after that, now we have 5,000 customers. Over 2 billion games have been downloaded that were created with Buildbox. And we just released Buildbox 3.0 last week. And after 4 years in development, it was a long development cycle, but it finally has come out. It does 3D games, really cool. You can create any type of game you want. We removed all the limitations from the previous versions, and we even did bring in coding, but it's totally optional. So we did a low-code JavaScript interface so you can actually create what we call nodes, which are kind of like blueprints in Unreal, where you can create a mind map and actually add logic to characters and objects in the game. So that's actually all available at buildbox.com. You can see what we're doing, and we do have a free version coming out. It's our biggest request is to have a free version. We're bootstrapped, and we always knew we would do it, but we had to get to a certain point first, and we're there now. And recently, yeah, across 5,000 customers, and it's going great. So and I appreciate Sagi, you putting me together to do this. This is great.
Excellent. So we have some questions that we want to ask each other, we prepare them in advance, so there are no trick or...
Yeah, I'm actually going to switch up all my questions, so get real personal. All right, no, I'm playing. All right, so you want me to kick that off, Sagi?
Yeah, sure.
All right, cool, yeah. So the first question I had, and this was interesting to me because TabTel, I didn't know a ton about how you guys started. And you just told me a little bit outside a minute ago. But the first question I have is, how was the company formed? But I really loved what you told me about insurance, what you were doing. So if you don't mind telling a little bit about what you were doing before that, and then what made you get into video games, why you chose that.
I was the CTO and VP R&D for a NASDAQ-traded company called Sapiens, and I did insurance system for 14 years. By the way, InsurTech is now booming. A lot of ideas that I tried to push back then, and gamification and stuff, but being in B2B is hard cycles and big projects, and I really liked gaming. I was writing some stories when I was younger, and there is something about the creative passion about doing something that meets people at their home and doesn't need to go through 1,000 mediators. So while I was in Sapiens, I told my CEO, I really love my job, but I need to do something for the soul. And I want to do this company that will do interactive books. And he said, okay, fine, just give me an update once a month, and that's it. So the first 3 years of TabTel were like this, so I gave him updates. The COO of TabTel today, Guy, was actually managing the company, and I was visiting here and there, and the company did better and better and better. We couldn't make it on interactive books, although it was a great market. Parents reading and sitting together with their kids and reading books, but there is no money in that, and unfortunately, we all have to make a living at the end. So the company pivoted towards games, and we're not sorry, by the way, because we really love games. The creative energies around doing gaming is intense, and the company grew and grew, and the numbers became really interesting. And only 2013, I said, okay, enough is enough. Let's just join full time and leave my day job.
Gotcha, that's great. And you started in 2010, right? Because we started the same year.
Yeah, exactly, 2010.
But I don't have 1% of all apps downloaded on the App Store, so you're doing something right. All right, so now this was another interesting thing that, spoiler alert, we talked about it out there. I've talked to a lot of publishers being with Buildbox, and they'll say a lot of times 1 out of 100 games is a hit. Now, you do something interesting. You're not just a publisher. You're actually first and foremost a developer. I don't know, I mean, you tell me, is it 50-50 kind of? You focus efforts on that as a publisher and a developer?
I think it's around 50-50, but we keep them as two almost separate studios where the element that we do share are the game designers. So once we get the game which passes the bar for being interesting, then the same game designers that do the self-development, they actually help the indie developer in trying to push the game. The marketing teams, which is becoming now a more intense experience, doing the market store, the ASO, the user acquisition, the analytics, the videos, the playable became a huge investment. So these are shared, but it's around 50-50, but our DNA started as the developer of all the things that we were doing. We started doing a little bit of publishing, but when we decided to move into hyper-casual, we understood that the massive amount of talent that is out there, the great ideas that would never come from a place that, there is discipline in any company, otherwise you'll be lying. So even in our multicultural environment, there are some things that nobody will come up with, and that might be the next big hit, like Amaze.
Gotcha. Yeah, Amaze was great too. I played that one a lot. Okay, so how many games do you have to test to find a hit, both from the publisher side, and I know you probably get sent a lot of crappy games, a lot of good games, but what percentage of those work out, and then from the development side when you actually build it yourself?
So we received, last year we received over 1,000 games, wow, complete games that were ready to test, to soft launch. We soft launched something around 400 of these. I mean, first of all, we believe that we know very little. So we know enough to not test 600, but not enough to disqualify out of the 400. And you never know where the next big hit is hiding, because people become more and more arrogant as time passes, and they think they know things they don't know. So we say
Have you been shocked sometimes seeing a game
Yes.
that you think there's no way it's going to work? I've heard that from
By the way, Amaze
other publishers, too.
didn't come in our VIP list. Sometimes we have a game in which everyone is ecstatic and you put it in the VIP list and you just run through it, and this wasn't in the VIP list. We thought it was good, but then the numbers, the day 1 retention 70, day 3
That is insane.
35, it was shocking, and then it became promising.
70% day 1.
So we have around, I think out of 1,000, we would then finally go into live with around 10. So it's 1 to 100.
Okay.
And with our internal development, 1 out of 5 will go into global launch. So
Okay.
these are the actual numbers.
Now that's interesting. I think, and you guys are developing games, right? Put your hand up if you're developing games. All right. So I think almost everyone here, right? So what is the difference between what you guys do? Is it knowing what type of game to create? Is it the art style? Why is your success so much higher than the average game shipped to you?
I think a lot of developers, they are not professional developers. So some of them, they really know the platforms and they have great ideas. And some, they find that Helix Jump is successful, so let's do Helix Jump in pink. Yeah. There is a certain level of professionalism that you bring as employees because you're looking for people with experience and good craftsmanship in their development platform. So I think that this is where the ratio is different, and also we invest a lot. Since we don't want to compete with the developers that are sending us games, what we put our efforts in is in really high art style. So we have an amazing art director, amazing art team, amazing development team. So we're trying to push their kind of high quality production, while a lot of development that are coming in are really high quality games, but they take a lot of existing assets and things that, so this is how we have different styles.
Gotcha. That's good. So production value, something definitely to focus on. All right, so what's the basic strategy for user acquisition with you guys? Are you doing the Instagram ads that I see all over the place? Actually, I think I saw one on Instagram today, actually.
Yes, we do Instagram, Facebook, all of the top ad networks like IronSource, AppLovin, Unity, these guys. But I think it's not unique. I think all of the hyper-casual are now following the almost same method. So there is a really thought-after methodology of taking a game, sometimes doing some playtesting using whatever service, Playtest Cloud or whatever, then going into a soft launch, bringing the minimum amount of users that you can then draw conclusion, get the day 1, day 3, then make additional decision. Many games fall at that stage. Then do a second soft launch, 5,000 users and some more metrics. And then if it's promising, then you go into the release cycle and you try and improve additionally the game and the marketing. We'll go into the 3 most important milestones in the company's history because it really interests me to...
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, so milestone number 1 was to have a hit game. Like I wanted to prove that Buildbox actually could create a hit game. And the first one was called Ball Jump. It was number 1 in the App Store, Catch App published. Second one was a game I made, Lines In, was really stoked on that. And then the third one was Color Switch. And since then we've had a lot. So that was a major milestone. The second milestone was the 5,000 customer mark for me. That was a number we really wanted early on. And to hit paying subscribers of that amount, I felt like it really pushed us as a platform. So that was the second. The third, probably go in 3D. No one's done that before with no code. We're the first software to do that like at a professional level. And that was a huge milestone that about killed everyone on the team, but we did it. So that was pretty good for me.
Let's skip the marketing strategy and go directly to how do you decide your product roadmap, features for the hyper-casual community?
Gotcha. So it's interesting, and one thing I wanted to talk about today, I guess we're probably not going to have time, is what is hyper-casual? Is this even a real thing? At this point, I feel like it's almost turning into casual. It's like I think we're seeing a melding of some sorts. Some of the, like the football game that Voodoo published looks almost like an indie game, So for us, it's not that we're focusing just on hyper-casual, even though that's been our most popular genre for sure. But we listen to the customers. That's number one, to see what they want. We do as much as possible. Sometimes what a customer wants might be something that's beyond what we can do at this point. Then the second thing is we try really not to look at competition at all. Again, coming up with our base being PowerPoint and Keynote to create a game originally. Now it's a little bit more advanced. It's like Photoshop is what we focus on for a target, but we really try not to look at what other people are doing because we want to create a new way to make games. So
Version 3 is out. Sounds very exciting. Took a lot of
Yes.
time, but probably you started thinking about version 4 or 3.5.
yeah, well,
So what's the great, vision
for the future.
Yeah, for the future?
Gotcha. To take out Unity is the vision. That's honestly, that's the game. I feel like I think they're doing some great things. They built an amazing community. I'm sure most people here use them, but yeah, our goal is to democratize game creation and to make it so literally anyone with an idea can make a game. I want to see high schoolers creating hit games, and I think we're going to see that. I think the evolution of software development is going to change. So if we can, facilitate any of that, I think that would be absolutely amazing. So it's interesting with 3.0, go into 3D, the node system we have, all this is what we wanted to launch with in 2014. But we had 3 people in the company. And I'm not a developer, and the other one was an assistant. So Nick, our CTO, who's the partner at Buildbox, it would have killed him to make that. So yeah, so I feel like we now have built a platform that's so scalable that we can build on into Buildbox 4.0 and all that. We rewrote everything from the ground up. But I definitely do want to put a focus more on advancing what we can do with the 3D software, and one day I'd like to have bump mapping, all that kind of cool stuff. And then multiplayer, I'd like to have really simple AWS support. I thought with Slither.io and all that, I thought we were going to see a huge push into that. And then we saw some IO games, and all of them were fake. Yeah, as soon as, if you guys ever done that, you go in airplane mode, and you can still, they're all fake players. I was like, okay.
When you can pause, I'll give you a hint.
Yeah.
If you can pause, it's not real.
If you can pause a multiplayer game and everyone freezes, something's up. Couldn't do that in Halo, yeah. So, so that's, our future is going to be listening to the customers and building what they want. But I think it's going to be an interesting time with no code, and I'm so glad it's finally taking off and taking shape. So,
excellent. So it sounds very exciting. I'm waiting. We'll download version 3 and we'll wait for version 4.
Yeah, sounds good.
And we still get a lot of developers using the platform. So I think this is the kind of best testimonial for us that this is something that is actually very hyped.
You've got new games coming on the hyper-casual market every day. And you're saying that you've both got, I would assume, multiple prototypes, hundreds of prototypes in development. What do you do when you see a game that you've already got in-house? It's maybe identical mechanically or even graphically. What do you do when you see that hitting the storefront? Do you stop development on it because it's already been hit? Do you put it on the back burner? Do you redevelop it? What do you do when you see something that you've kind of already got? Maybe you're already in soft launch stage and you see it pop up by a competitor. What do you do with what you've got?
So it's an interesting question. I think there isn't really a simple rule. I think usually if we see something that is already hitting there and there is still a way for us to go, then we'll probably walk away. It's not worth it. But I think you can see the store right now, at least the US store, which most of the companies are fighting around. The big money is there, and in the China store. So there are many games. By the way, us and Voodoo, we have Amaze and they have Roller Splat, but you can find other similar twins that are going up. Most of the mechanics on the store, you come around to them. AA, I see many, now after AA was absent, the AA type game. So there was Knife last year, and now I see Fruits AA type. So you don't have to be a genius to try and come up with the game. So, and since there is a huge community of developers doing that, it happens that similar ideas are coming out. I think that if we already launched, if something is promising and someone else is also there, then okay, we'll compete fairly. If we are far away, if there are few weeks for us, then we'll walk away. It's not worth the energies. And by the way, once somebody launches, and if you have something similar, especially art-wise and so on, it will start increasing your CPI. So at the end, it's not economical to keep few games with it. This is why the copycats don't do so well on the store after a while. So it's not like you can launch 10 games that will look the same and they will just be all successful, because the second one, it's harder for them to bring users economically. The third one is less, and then so on and so on. So usually, only if you're already there, you will try and be the best one and be on top.
Thank you.
Welcome.
As more games, as the hyper-casual space has become more crowded, how do you find that's impacting your launch budget in particular? Do you have to invest more to get a game to the top of the App Store, and proportionately, how much more than before?
That's all you.
Okay, that's me. So, surprisingly, the App Store became more competitive, but the scale, the amount of users that are downloading, when we decided to go into hyper-casual 3 years ago, we estimated the market, and the estimation was that it's a $1 billion market. Now, the estimations are that hyper-casual is a 3 to 5 billion. And again, depending on what you put inside and outside, people can play with numbers very nicely, you can see. But the budget hasn't increased. What happened is that there is a certain criteria. I think what happened is the other way around. The level of games, the level of accuracy that you need to put into a game for the game to be successful has increased. If you look at the level of finishing and quality and retention that was required 2 years ago, it's not the same as today. So the kind of economy numbers, the LTVs, the CPIs, they stay the same, because this is what defines the economy of hyper-casual. It's in tens of cents in CPI, it can be even 10 cents, tens of cents until 80, 70, maybe $1. So that's the range that you're playing with, but there are many, many users who downloaded hyper-casual playing, and they're willing to go and download additional hyper-casual. So the economy stay the same. The level of quality that you need to bring is escalating and evolving. So.
All right, so that's like a huge challenge that we're trying to fix, because that is very platform dependent. Color Switch was made in 3 days and then finalized in 5 days and published. And you were saying, you guys hit some pretty interesting numbers. 3 months for a game, if it's a real emergency situation, you said 3 weeks. Yes. And that's pretty nuts. A lot of people I've talked to, I'm hearing on other platforms, are as much as a year to develop a game. And with our platform, we're pushing out, I think the average game takes about a month. So.
I think the efficiency of the platform, libraries, what have you also, but also in order to launch, you need the partners around the marketing, store, and so on. So there is a cost in developing the game, and I think there are some, Buildbox is an excellent platform to cut your costs. And you need to think about how you market, because today marketing costs also a lot of equally good dollars on the playable videos, ASO market store. So, and if you want to do a successful game, you need to think about all aspects. I think here you also have something about playables that.
Yeah. Soon we're going to be able to do playables on Buildbox, so we'll look out for an announcement on that as well.
Thank you so much, Sagi.
Very much.
Thank you.